Beverly Hills 90210, 1990 to 2000, was more than just a teen drama. It was a cultural phenomenon that defined an entire generation. Set in the sun-soaked glamour of Southern California, the show followed the lives, loves, and heartbreaks of privileged high schoolers growing up fast in a world of secrets, scandals, and societal pressure. But while millions tuned in for the drama on screen, many of the actors faced darker struggles in real life. From shocking illnesses and secret battles with addiction to sudden, tragic deaths, several beloved cast members met heartbreaking ends that fans never saw coming. This is a powerful and emotional look back at the stars of Beverly Hills 90210 who left us far too soon, and the haunting stories they left behind. Joey Tata was born on September 13, 1936, and began portraying Nat Basicchio in Beverly Hills 90210 in 1990 at the age of 54. As the kindly owner of the Peach Pit, Nat was the show's emotional anchor, a surrogate parent and confidant to the privileged, confused teens of West Beverly High. His steady presence offered a sense of normalcy in a world of betrayal and chaos. But behind the scenes, Tata's life was anything but stable. Born in New York City to a traditional Italian-American family, his early life was scarred by loss. His mother died when he was a child, and his relationship with his father was reportedly strained and authoritarian. He spent much of his youth being passed between relatives and hiding behind humor to avoid rejection. While Joe worked consistently in television from the 1960s onward, including roles in Batman, The Rockford Files, and Mission Impossible, he never broke into stardom. His casting in 90210 was initially minor, but producers noticed his chemistry with the cast and expanded his role. Despite his beloved on-screen persona, Tata's career was filled with near misses and disappointments. He was passed over for several lead roles in major sitcoms during the 1980s, and, according to one studio insider, was seen as too soft to carry a primetime show. There were also whispers of him being difficult about pay negotiations, which may have contributed to his role being sidelined in later seasons. Financially, he was never secure. Despite appearing in over 230 episodes, his residuals from 90210 were modest, nowhere near the staggering sums his younger co-stars earned. His personal life was quiet but marked by hardship. He was divorced, estranged from parts of his family, and never remarried. His only child, daughter Kelly, became his primary caretaker in later years as he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's in 2018. By 2021, he required full-time care, and Kelly launched a GoFundMe campaign, revealing to the public just how dire his finances had become. Joey Tata died on August 24, 2022, in Los Angeles at the age of 85, due to complications from Alzheimer's. At the time of his death, his assets were estimated to be under $1 million, his legacy not one of wealth, but of quiet endurance. Shannen Doherty was born on April 12, 1971, and played Brenda Walsh in Beverly Hills 90210 in 1990 at the age of 19. Brenda was the intense, emotionally raw heart of the original ensemble. Smart, brooding, rebellious, and hopelessly romantic. Her turbulent on-screen relationships and inner conflicts became mirrors for millions of young viewers navigating adolescence. But off-screen, Doherty's fire burned far hotter. Raised in a strict Southern Baptist household in Memphis, she endured a childhood clouded by fear and control. Her father's financial struggles and her mother's religious rigidity created a volatile emotional landscape, driving Doherty to seek validation and rebellion early on. As a teen actress, she was thrust into Hollywood's toxic underbelly and quickly gained a reputation for being combative and unmanageable. Feuds with co-stars like Jenny Garth and Alyssa Milano weren't just gossip. They were explosive showdowns, complete with threats of physical fights, on-set tantrums, and producers walking on eggshells. Her firing from 90210 was wrapped in polite press releases, but insiders later revealed she was warned repeatedly for showing up late, refusing to rehearse, and allegedly leaking negative press about her castmates. Her personal life was no less chaotic. She married Ashley Hamilton after knowing him for just 2 weeks, divorced within months and later filed a restraining order against another partner. She also struggled with alcohol abuse in her 20s and was once sued for smashing a hotel lobby vase during a drunken altercation. One of her darkest professional chapters was being fired from Charmed, the second time a major network show let her go due to toxic behavior. Still, Doherty evolved. Her final years were marked by a painful but courageous fight against metastatic breast cancer, which she documented publicly with haunting honesty. Shannen Doherty died on July 13, 2024, at age 53 in Malibu, California. At the time of her death, her net worth was estimated at around $5 million, drawn from decades of acting, residuals, directing, and reality TV work. Jed Allen, born on March 1, 1935, joined Beverly Hills 9021 in 1994 at age 59, bringing life to Rush Sanders, the domineering, image-obsessed father whose wealth and ambition masked deep insecurities. Audiences viewed Rush as both a warning and a product of cutthroat parenting, but Jed Allen knew the part too well. Behind his charming smile and booming voice was a man haunted by personal losses and broken trust. Allen, born Jed Allen Brown, lost his father young and was raised in financial insecurity by a single mother in New York. He worked various odd jobs before breaking into radio, but his rise in daytime television came at the cost of multiple mental breakdowns and a hidden gambling addiction. Throughout the 1980s, he was reportedly blacklisted by several productions after clashes with writers and producers. In one shocking 1989 lawsuit, he was accused of physically threatening a director during a disagreement on set, though it was settled privately and buried by his management. Jed's most painful failure came in 1993 when he was fired from Santa Barbara, the soap he helped define, amid a swirl of rumors about alcohol abuse and erratic behavior. His marriage to Toby Brown, while long, was turbulent, marked by separations, whispered affairs, and Jed's long absences while on tour or at the racetrack. After her death in 2001, he spiraled into depression, becoming reclusive and reportedly estranged from one of his sons. Jed Allen died peacefully on March 9, 2019, in Palm Desert, California, at age 84. His estate, managed by his surviving sons, included residuals from soaps, real estate in Palm Springs, and royalties from a memoir, totaling a net worth estimated at $3.5 million. Despite his dignified on-screen presence, Jed Allen's life was scarred by volatility, ambition, and a relentless struggle for control. Luke Perry was born on October 11, 1966, and took on the role of Dylan McKay in Beverly Hills, 90210 in 1990 at just 24 years old. Dylan was the quintessential tortured soul, a rich kid with a shattered heart, battling addiction, love, and the weight of his family's dysfunction. The role transformed Perry into a global icon, but it also became a gilded cage. Beneath his rugged charm and squinting glare was a man deeply uncomfortable with fame. Raised in working-class Ohio, Perry's childhood was marked by abandonment. His father left the family early, and Luke carried that scar for the rest of his life. He once described his younger self as the invisible kid, and even after he made it big, he remained emotionally guarded. Fame came fast, and with it came pressure. He was hounded by tabloids, stalked by obsessive fans, and scrutinized for every public move. His attempts to escape the teen idol label led to risky career choices, including rejecting 90210 scripts and demanding more serious material. This created friction with producers, and at one point, he walked off the show entirely, leading to internal resentment. His return in later seasons was less triumphant and more strategic, a move driven by financial necessity rather than artistic fulfillment. Behind the scenes, he was known to be blunt, sometimes clashing with executives, though never publicly scandalous. But there was darkness he kept hidden. He was devastated by the sudden death of his stepfather and struggled with anxiety for years. Perry never remarried after his divorce from Rachel Sharp and kept his personal relationships fiercely private. He was romantically linked to a few high-profile women, but none lasted, and insiders say his emotional walls were impenetrable. Tragically, Perry suffered a massive ischemic stroke and died on March 4, 2019, in Burbank, California, at age 52. He had taken serious steps to secure his legacy. He left a detailed will, protected his children's future, and reportedly had a secret trust for charitable causes. His estate was estimated at $10 million, including property, Riverdale earnings, and decades of syndication royalties. Denise Dows was born on February 21, 1958, and began portraying Vice Principal Yvonne Teasley in Beverly Hills, 90210 in 1990 at the age of 32. On screen, she was the embodiment of quiet authority, dignified, compassionate, and often the moral compass for a cast of spiraling teenagers. But the steady character she played masked a life full of volatility and unspoken loneliness. Raised in a strict military household, Denise's childhood was riddled with emotional suppression. Her father, a naval officer, enforced rigid discipline, and Dows later hinted in interviews that she never felt seen or loved for who she was. In her career, Dows struggled to break through Hollywood's systemic racial barriers, often typecast as the wise black woman, despite her range. What fans never saw was her fierce temper behind the scenes, particularly during later seasons when she felt underused. Former castmates described her as tense and unpredictable when cameras were off. Though she directed independent films, one 2007 project collapsed mid-production after a reported meltdown on set involving financial mismanagement. In her personal life, she avoided marriage and motherhood, but developed a complex, codependent relationship with a younger woman, Maya Lott, whom she referred to as her daughter, though the connection was never legally formalized. In her final years, Denise suffered from declining health and increasing isolation, reportedly estranged from extended family. She died on August 13, 2022, in Los Angeles, California, at age 64 from complications related to meningitis. At the time of her death, her estate was modest, valued just over $1 million, consisting mainly of residuals, a modest condo, and a few intellectual properties. Despite her public image of grace and discipline, Dows's life reflected the quiet, aching cost of Hollywood invisibility and unspoken pain. Stanley Camel was born on January 1, 1943, and joined Beverly Hills 90210 in 1995 at age 52, taking on the sinister role of Tony Marchette, a crime boss whose vendetta indirectly led to the tragic death of his own daughter. Marchette's cold, manipulative persona was a shocking and effective twist in the show's narrative, pushing Dylan McKay into a revenge-fueled spiral. Camel's performance was chilling and calculated, fueled, some say, by the internal contradictions of the man himself. Despite his professional reputation for being warm and cooperative, those close to him noted a guarded sadness that lingered beneath the surface. Born in South River, New Jersey, Camel's upbringing was shaped by a strict Orthodox Jewish household, where religious doctrine often left little room for personal identity exploration. As a closeted gay man during the most homophobic decades in Hollywood, Stanley spent most of his life hiding in plain sight. Though he was never publicly out, several colleagues later confirmed that Camel lived in fear of his truth becoming known, especially during the 80s and 90s, when outing could end a career. His refusal to discuss his private life earned him a reputation as mysteriously single. Despite his outward serenity, Camel reportedly struggled with depression, compounded by feelings of isolation and suppressed identity. Professionally, he experienced major letdowns, including losing a lead role in a prominent 1990s series just days before shooting. It was said to have been the lowest point in his career. Though he achieved success on Monk as Dr. Kroger, the fame came late and never fully erased earlier disappointments. He lived alone, never married, and had no children. Camel died of a sudden heart attack on April 8, 2008, at his Hollywood Hills home at the age of 65. His estate, valued at approximately $3 million, consisted of savings, real estate, and decades of union-protected television income. Nicholas Pryor was born on January 28, 1935, and joined Beverly Hills 9021 in 1994 as Chancellor Milton Arnold at age 59. As the reserved, articulate university head and father to Claire, Pryor exuded calm wisdom, anchoring the show's more chaotic college arcs with a rare sense of maturity. His performance was understated but vital. His every scene carried authority, even warmth. But Pryor's path to that quiet dignity was far from serene. Born Nicholas David Probst in Baltimore, he was raised in a deeply repressive household by a father who demanded perfection and a mother who allegedly locked him in the attic when he cried. His early life was marked by emotional suppression, a theme that later informed his somber acting choices. Pryor's career spanned 7 decades, but he was constantly overshadowed by flashier performers. Known as Hollywood's permanent supporting cast, he faced rejection more often than applause. A failed run at Broadway in the 60s ended with him waitressing to survive, and in the early 1980s, he battled a quiet, nervous breakdown after a promising role in a network drama was cut during pilot season. Though he remained scandal-free, there were whispers in theater circles that he'd been forced out of several productions due to his meticulous, sometimes obsessive perfectionism. He never married, and sources close to him describe Pryor as a loner, private to the point of isolation. He had no known children and was once quoted saying, "My characters were my family." Though he lacked public notoriety, his colleagues revered him as an actor's actor. Nicholas Pryor passed away on October 7, 2024, at age 89 in Wilmington, North Carolina, from cancer. His estate was small but well-maintained. An oceanfront condo in Carolina Beach, modest retirement investments, and a personal film archive he had kept organized for decades. His net worth was believed to be between $1 to $2 million. John Reilly was born on November 11, 1934, and played the role of Bill Taylor in Beverly Hills 90210 in 1996 at the age of 62. His character, the suave yet neglectful father of Kelly Taylor, added layers of unresolved trauma and emotional damage to one of the show's central figures. Bill was a man defined by absences. He appeared in his daughter's life only to disappoint her again, often choosing business deals and new women over fatherhood. Audiences loved to hate him, and that dissonance made Reilly's performance unshakable. But few knew the real man behind the charming deadbeat. Born in the unforgiving streets of Chicago during the Great Depression, Reilly grew up with a violent alcoholic father and a mother who worked 3 jobs just to feed 5 children. He developed a polished exterior to cover his scars, but the trauma left him emotionally distant for most of his life. He stumbled through the early years of his acting career, often being fired for creative disagreements, a coded phrase for his well-known temper. Behind the soap opera of professionalism lay a darker history. During the late 70s, he was sued by a former co-star for physical aggression on set, though the case was later settled privately. His biggest career blow came when he was suddenly written out of General Hospital after nearly 2 decades, a move insiders blamed on his refusal to adapt to a younger, more sensational direction. His personal life wasn't without chaos either. Though married to Liz for decades, there were rumors of long periods of estrangement, and his relationship with some of his daughters was strained, particularly during his years of heavy drinking in the 80s. In his final decade, Reilly suffered from Alzheimer's, which slowly erased his ability to speak and remember his own iconic roles. On January 9, 2021, he died from a heart attack at the age of 86 in Los Angeles. His estate included a modest Brentwood home, residuals from decades of television work, and rights to a few unreleased screenplays he once hoped to direct. His estimated net worth was around $3 million. Though he died quietly, his legacy remains etched in the minds of soap opera fans, and in the shadows of secrets he never fully outran. Wings Hauser was born on December 12, 1947, and joined Beverly Hills 90210 in 1994 at age 47, playing J.J. Jones, a slick, manipulative music promoter who pushed Ray Pruitt toward fame and destruction. Hauser's portrayal of Jones was unflinchingly raw, channeling the kind of darkness that didn't feel like acting. His character's sleaze and charm mirrored elements of Wings' own life, which was laced with chaos, near ruin, and reinvention. Behind his gruff voice and intense eyes was a man who had scraped rock bottom more than once. In the 1970s, he was broke and squatting in a garage, raising a baby daughter while hustling for roles. The Hollywood rumor mill often whispered about his volatility. Casting directors called him unpredictable, while fellow actors claimed he could be brilliant one day and impossible the next. Though he avoided high-profile scandals, his off-screen persona was a cocktail of hard partying, heavy drinking, and erratic behavior. His biggest career failure came after the cult success of Vice Squad, a gritty 1982 film in which he played a pimp so convincingly that it typecast him. He was considered for multiple lead roles in major action films, but was repeatedly passed over due to his reputation for being too intense or unmanageable. Friends described him as both magnetic and dangerous, a man who could charm a casting room and alienate it within minutes. His personal life mirrored the chaos: multiple marriages, custody battles, and a complicated relationship with his son Cole Hauser, who eventually eclipsed his father's fame with mainstream success. In later years, Wings suffered quietly from COPD, a condition that robbed him of his signature gravelly voice and made acting nearly impossible. He died on March 15, 2025 in Santa Monica at the age of 77. His final years spent mostly in isolation, reportedly estranged from many in the industry that once revered him. Despite over 100 roles in film and TV, his estate was modest, estimated at $2 to $3 million. Bolstered not by blockbusters, but by a lifetime of relentless work and occasional songwriting royalties under his musical alias, Wings Livin' Right. James Shigeta was born on June 17, 1929, in Honolulu, Hawaii, and passed away on July 28, 2014, in Los Angeles, California, at the age of 85. He died peacefully in his sleep, leaving behind a groundbreaking legacy in both film and television. At age 70, he appeared in Beverly Hills 90210 in 1999 as Ben Sosna, a character marked by grace, wisdom, and quiet strength. Though his role was brief, Shigeta's presence added a layer of dignity to the show's later seasons. His career began with a bang in the late 1950s when he won the talent competition on Ted Mack's Amateur Hour, leading to a contract with 20th Century Fox. He quickly became one of the first Asian American actors to be cast as a romantic lead in Hollywood, a feat almost unheard of in the racially tense climate of the time. Shigeta's breakout role came in the musical Flower Drum Song, 1961, and he later gained international recognition as Joseph Takagi in Die Hard, 1988. He also voiced General Lee in Disney's Mulan, further solidifying his cultural impact. A gifted baritone singer, he was nicknamed the Frank Sinatra of Japan and released several albums throughout the 1960s. Off-screen, Shigeta was a proud U.S. Marine Corps veteran and a Golden Globe winner for Most Promising Newcomer in 1960. Despite his accolades, he remained humble and intensely private, never marrying or publicly discussing his romantic life. He was widely respected in the Asian American acting community for breaking stereotypes and opening doors. Shigeta lived a life without scandal, guided by discipline, dignity, and devotion to his craft. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated to be around $3 to $5 million, accumulated from a lifetime of acting, music, and groundbreaking achievements in representation. Peter Mark Richmond was born on April 16, 1927 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and died on January 14, 2021 in Woodland Hills, California, at the age of 93 due to natural causes. At 66, he took on the role of Lawrence Carson in Beverly Hills, 90210 in 1993. A wealthy, overbearing father to Stuart Carson, who disapproved of his son's impulsive relationship with Brenda Walsh. Richmond's portrayal was coldly elegant, embodying the status-driven, elitist attitudes of Beverly Hills aristocracy. This role was one among many in his extensive career, which spanned over 5 decades. He appeared in more than 130 television series, including Three's Company, where he played Reverend Snow, and also guest starred in shows like Dynasty, The Twilight Zone, Murder, She Wrote, and Star Trek: The Next Generation. Before acting, he earned a degree in pharmacy and was licensed to practice, a path he left behind after training at the Actors Studio. Beyond acting, Richmond was also a successful writer and painter. He published novels and plays and exhibited his artwork in galleries. Off-screen, he lived a drama-free, devoted family life. He married Helen Richmond in 1953, and they remained together for nearly 70 years until his death. The couple had 5 children and several grandchildren. Richmond was deeply respected in the entertainment community for his professionalism, intellect, and spiritual grounding. He was also involved in interfaith dialogues and charitable organizations. Despite his prolific output, he avoided the spotlight and was known for his humility. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated to be around $2 to $3 million, earned through a diverse career that included not just acting, but also publishing and fine arts. Caroline McWilliams was born on April 4, 1945, and took on the role of Luann Pruitt in Beverly Hills, 90210 in 1994 at the age of 49. As Ray Pruitt's emotionally volatile mother, Luann was a portrait of dysfunction, abrasive, manipulative, and unpredictable. Her scenes often ignited tension and revealed the dark layers of Ray's troubled upbringing, making her one of the show's most uncomfortable yet gripping secondary characters. While audiences saw only a few episodes featuring Luann, McWilliams' nuanced performance made the character unforgettable. But behind the screen, Caroline's life was shaped by deeply buried wounds. Born in Seattle, she rarely spoke about her childhood, but close friends recalled a strained, emotionally distant household where affection was scarce and ambition was the only language spoken. Her move into acting was more of an escape than a calling. She fled to Carnegie Mellon for its prestige, but also for distance. Her early career in soap operas like Guiding Light and sitcoms like Soap seemed promising. Yet she was often overlooked for lead roles, and the industry treated her as a fill-in actress, reliable, but rarely spotlighted. One of her most devastating professional disappointments came in the late 80s, when a starring role she was promised in a major pilot was abruptly recast without explanation. Rumored to be due to studio politics and her refusal to flirt with a network executive. Her marriage to actor Michael Keaton brought both joy and turmoil. While the couple initially thrived, Keaton's skyrocketing fame cast a long shadow over their relationship. Their divorce in 1990 was reportedly bitter, with quiet but fierce disputes over custody and lifestyle choices. Despite these private battles, McWilliams remained fiercely dedicated to her son, Sean Douglas, who later rose to success as a songwriter for top pop artists. After stepping back from Hollywood, she directed small theater productions, but in the final years of her life, she suffered in silence from multiple myeloma. She passed away on February 11, 2010, in Los Angeles at the age of 64. Despite decades in the industry, her net worth was modest, estimated around $1 to $2 million. Reflecting both the limitations placed on women in television at the time and her decision to prioritize family over fame. David Gail was born on February 27, 1965, and played 2 separate roles in Beverly Hills. 90210, first appearing in 1991 at age 26. While his early role as Tom, the hotel worker, was forgettable, his later portrayal of Stuart Carson, Brenda Walsh's wealthy, impulsive fiancé, left a lasting impression on viewers. Stuart was intense, volatile, and driven by his need to control, traits that often placed him at odds with Brenda's tight-knit social circle. The character's dark energy mirrored aspects of Gail's private life that remained hidden from the public for years. Behind the scenes, David Gail was deeply troubled, quietly battling chronic pain that stemmed from a series of medical procedures in the late 2000s. Though outwardly composed, insiders recall a man in constant discomfort, growing increasingly reliant on prescription opioids. This dependency evolved into a dangerous pattern of self-medication, leading him down a path few close to him could stop. Raised in Tampa, Florida, Gail had a childhood marked by emotional distance. His father, a military man, enforced a strict household where feelings were frowned upon. As a boy, David was mocked for his sensitivity, which he later buried beneath charisma and ambition. His acting career faltered after his soap opera fame faded, with missed roles and failed pilots haunting his resume. He was rumored to have clashed with producers due to erratic behavior and growing unreliability, with one high-profile role allegedly revoked after a heated argument over creative direction. Despite never being involved in public scandal, those close to him suggested he harbored deep resentment toward Hollywood's rejection. His romantic life was equally turbulent, brief engagements, emotional affairs, and an inability to sustain connection. He never married, and some say his battles with addiction created distance between him and his family. Gail died on January 16, 2024, at the age of 58 in Los Angeles from a heart attack and brain injury, caused by a toxic cocktail of fentanyl, cocaine, alcohol, and amphetamines. His death was sudden but not shocking to those aware of his long struggle. At the time, his net worth was modest, estimated under $1 million, consisting mostly of residuals, minor royalties, and a small home in the valley. Thank you for watching as we reflected on the lives and legacies of the actors from Beverly Hills 90210 who are no longer with us. Their humor, charm, and unforgettable performances brought joy to millions and helped shape the show into a classic. While their journeys ended far too soon, their impact lives on through every scene, every laugh, and every memory they've left behind. As we honor their lives, we're reminded of how deeply television can touch our hearts. Join us next time as we look back at more stars who left us too soon, but whose stories continue to shine.